Gospel according to John, chapter 18, verse 12. Then the band and the captain and officers of the Jews took Jesus and bound him and led him away to Annas first, for he was father-in-law to Caiaphas, which was the high priest that same year. Now Caiaphas was he which gave counsel to the Jews that it was expedient that one man should die for the people. And Simon Peter followed Jesus, and so did another disciple. That disciple was known unto the high priest, and went in with Jesus into the palace of the high priest. But Peter stood at the door without. Then went out that other disciple which was known unto the high priest, and spake unto her that kept the door, and brought in Peter. Then saith the damsel that kept the door unto Peter, Art not thou also one of this man's disciples? He saith, I am not. And the servants and officers stood there, who had made a fire of coals, for it was cold. And they warmed themselves, and Peter stood with them, and warmed himself. The high priest then asked Jesus of his disciples, and of his doctrine. Jesus answered him, I spake openly to the world. I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whither the Jews always resort, and in secret have I said nothing. Why askest thou me? Ask them which heard me, what I have said unto them. Behold, they know what I said. And when he had thus spoken, one of the officers which stood by struck Jesus with the palm of his hand, saying, Answerest thou the high priest so? Jesus answered him, If I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smitest thou me? Now Annas had sent him bound unto Caiaphas the high priest. And Simon Peter stood and warmed himself. They said therefore unto him, Art not thou also one of his disciples? He denied it, and said, I am not. One of the servants of the high priest, being his kinsman, whose ear Peter cut off, saith, Did not I see thee in the garden with him? Peter then denied again, and immediately the cock crew. Then led they Jesus from Caiaphas unto the hall of judgment, and it was early. And they themselves went not into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover. Pilate then went out unto them, and said, What accusation bring ye against this man? They answered and said unto him, If he were not a malefactor, ye would not have delivered him up unto thee. Then said Pilate unto them, Take ye him, and judge him according to your law. The Jews therefore said unto him, It is not lawful for us to put any man to death, that the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled which he spake, signifying what death he should die. Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again, and called Jesus, and said unto him, Art thou the King of the Jews? Jesus answered him, Sayest thou this thing of thyself, or did others tell it thee of me? Pilate answered, Am I a Jew? Thine own nation and the chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done? Jesus answered, My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. Pilate therefore said unto him, Art thou a king then? Jesus answered, Thou sayest that I am a king. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Every one that is of the truth heareth my voice. Pilate saith unto him, What is truth? And when he had said this, he went out again unto the Jews, and saith unto them, I find in him no fault at all. But ye have a custom that I should release unto you one at the Passover. Will ye therefore that I release unto you the King of the Jews? Then cried they all again, saying, Not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber. Now Jesus is standing before the court. All of his disciples have run away except for two. One of those two is Peter. Peter stayed outside in the courtyard where it was cold. It was there that he denied knowing Jesus 3 times, just like Jesus said he would. Read the story again in this chapter if you want to learn more details. The second disciple that was there is mentioned in verses 15 and 16. His name isn't mentioned, and many assume that this disciple is John. He wrote the book and always referred to himself as a certain disciple, or the disciple whom Jesus loved. The same John that wrote this book is this second disciple that we think. That would help us to understand how John knew so much about the court process that Jesus went through. He was an eyewitness to the court trial of Jesus. Now, it was not legal or not allowed for the Jews to give anyone a death penalty as punishment. The Romans controlled this area at the time as far as the government was concerned, and so the Jews were dependent on them. The Romans had forbidden the Jews to hand out the death penalty. Only the Romans could do that. That is why the high priest of the Jews sent Jesus to Pilate, the leader of the Romans in the area. Pilate didn't really want to give Jesus the death penalty and was really never convinced that Jesus had done anything worthy of punishment. And certainly he hadn't. But the Jews pressured him to do so. What did you notice about the way that Jesus handled himself before the judge when he was falsely accused? He was very patient, wasn't he? He always answered with the truth. And even though his words were sometimes hard words, he was always respectful, even when he was unjustly hit in the face. We can learn a lot from the way Jesus handled himself there. Pilate thought that he had come up with a great idea that would allow Jesus to go free. Remember, Pilate was never really convinced that Jesus had done wrong. So he had a plan. There was a custom or a tradition at the Jewish Passover time that Pilate, the leader of the Romans in that area, would allow a Jewish prisoner to go free to the people. So Pilate thought, I'll let the crowds decide. Certainly they would choose Jesus over a criminal. The decision was between Barabbas, who was a thief and a murderer, and Jesus. And the crowd had so much hate for Jesus that they chose Barabbas. Barabbas was let free, and Jesus was held as prisoner for punishment. Next time, we'll see exactly what kind of punishment they gave Jesus here on the next episode of Young Theologians.